So a few days ago, I released my first impressions video for a new MMORPG that recently came to Steam Early Access called The Quinfall. This is a game that's had quite a bit of controversy surrounding its development, so for the first time, I felt it was appropriate to make a buyer beware section listing all the red flags. After that video released, the developers of the game reached out to me requesting an interview to address these red flags. So for the sake of fairness and hearing both sides, today we're going to go over their response. First though, it's worth mentioning that after my previous video I had even more people reach out to me about how easy this game is to hack, and I even got one guy in a Discord call to show me the hacks live via screen share, even after the devs implemented easy anti-cheat into the game. He also claimed that him and multiple other people from the Quinfall Discord have been banned for trying to report bugs as well as other players that have been cheating, which is something that I asked the dev in this interview. But before we go further down the Quinfall rabbit hole, support the content by listening to today's sponsor. Mandragora, the action RPG we've all been waiting for, is launching on April 17th. Mandragora blends skill-based combat, deep character customization, and Metroidvania-style exploration in a beautifully hand-painted world. Think Gothic Beauty meets Souls-like challenge meets rewarding exploration. It's gorgeous and brutal all at once. Here's the lowdown. You'll build a character from 6 unique classes, each with their own talent tree, and customize your loadout with a massive arsenal of weapons, armor, items, and spells. The combat is skill-driven, so every strike matters. Prepare to face relentless enemies and towering bosses that will test your timing, strategy, and perseverance. Seriously, these bosses are no joke. Explore a sprawling, interconnected world with hidden areas and secrets waiting to be discovered, and the story, it's a deep branching narrative crafted by the legendary Brian Mitsoda, so expect twists, turns, and multiple endings. Your choices will actually matter. Plus, the epic soundtrack, composed by Christos Antonios of Septic Flesh, will immerse you even deeper into the world. Ready to dive in? Pre-order Mandragora on Steam now using my link in the description. Everyone who pre-orders gets exclusive digital rewards and access to 2 preview builds, so you can start playing immediately. Don't miss out on this incredible dark fantasy adventure. April 17th, 2025, mark your calendars. So for this interview I decided that doing it over messages was best, as the devs don't speak any English, and I wanted to be able to go away and try and validate their answers after. So let's get into it. In your previous MMO, Keira Online, you officially partnered with an RMT website. Have you changed your stance on the RMT situation in Quinfall? If so, why are people openly advertising RMT services in chat and not being banned? Keira Online was not released on an international platform like Steam. It was only available to players in Turkey. The platform you mentioned did not sell items that could be considered RMT, such as character or gold sales. Instead, it was merely a payment gateway where players could purchase Keira Dinar, the in-game currency of Keira Online, similar to how Steam has its own payment system. Since we did not have our own payment infrastructure, we partnered with this platform as a solution. We did not allow RMT back then, and we do not allow it now. Players engaging in RMT are permanently banned based on player reports and our Game Master team's inspections. In our latest updates, we've made it even more difficult by implementing level restrictions for the global chat system. Additionally, major MMORPGs like Albion Online and New World also face similar issues from time to time. However, no one claims that these games are in partnership with RMT websites. Sometimes people focus only on negative comments and form judgments accordingly. That being said, many players who actually experience our game express their satisfaction. Ultimately, who you choose to believe is entirely up to you. I don't entirely trust the devs' response to this question. They said, the platform you mentioned did not sell any items that could be considered RMT. So I checked this website myself, buynogame.com, and you can buy Lost Ark Gold, PoE 2 orbs, and items for various MMOs such as Night Online. Certainly meets the definition of an RMT site to me. Unfortunately, Wayback Machine isn't working for this website, so I can't find exactly what was sold in their previous MMO, so if you want to trust the devs that they only used this RMT website as a payment gateway, then that's up to you. Many people felt that your previous MMO, Keira Online, was rug pulled. What caused you to shut the game down so quickly and begin work on a new MMO? First and foremost, K-Rot Online was not shut down suddenly. In its final 4 months, the game had an average of 50 to 100 active players, making it increasingly difficult to cover server costs. We openly communicated this with our players and informed them that if things continued this way, we would not be able to sustain the game in the coming months. So the shutdown was not unexpected. Players were aware of the situation. The closure of K-Rot Online was not a decision made to transition to Quinfall. In fact, we had already started developing Quinfall. Our goal was to focus on a larger global project, and as a team we expanded our efforts to bring this vision to life. So there was no direct connection between the shutting down of K-Rot Online and moving on to Quinfall. So from what I understand, K-Rot Online never made it out of beta, and seemingly only had 2 years worth of development put into it before being shut down. So I can see why people feel it was abandoned. Also, I do find it a bit odd that they started work on the Quinfall whilst they already had another MMO still in beta, especially considering they apparently only have one dev that does all the coding, which they confirm in a question that I ask later. If they were losing money every month and didn't see a future in the project, then fair enough, I can see why they'd shut it down. What do you say in response to the claims that your game has no anti-cheat? We use server-side anti-cheat systems in the game, however in the early days this system produced some false positives, so it was temporarily disabled. As a quick solution we integrated easy anti-cheat. Additionally, we're currently in discussions with different anti-cheat companies to establish a stronger long-term protection system. Our goal is to secure a licensing agreement that will provide a robust and permanent solution. We take cheating very seriously and are actively working on implementing the most effective system. Okay, I mean, it's all well and good claiming that you take cheating seriously, but their actions don't match their words. Why would you even launch a game in early access without already having a permanent solution to anti-cheat? I checked the Quinfall Discord and they don't plan on doing any wipes. So anyone who cheats now and gets super far ahead will have a permanent advantage. They already went through all of this with their previous MMO, which was super easily exploited. So the fact that this is a problem in Quinfall can't be put down to inexperience but incompetence at this point. What do you say in response to the claim that your game is client-side authoritative and easily exploited by hackers? Due to the vast content of our game, some data is processed client-side. However, all of this data is filtered and verified by the server before being reflected in the game. This means that these client-side processes do not create critical security vulnerabilities, such as item duplications or other major exploits. The client-side processing is mostly limited to aspects like movement speed modifications, attack speed adjustments, or minor tweaks to NPC behavior. These types of exploits can be prevented though through third-party anti-cheat solutions, and we are taking necessary precautions in this regard. The day after they implemented easy anti-cheat into the game, I got in a call with a guy on Discord who opened up a cheat client that was coded within 20 minutes and had powers such as God Mode, 3x attack speed, the ability to suck all mobs in an area together to speed farm, perma-auto fishing whilst playing the game normally, being able to kill other players in safe zones, super speed material gathering, and access to areas of the map currently not available without exploits. If these things aren't considered critical security vulnerabilities or major exploits, then I don't know what is. To be fair, from what I can tell, you can't spawn in items or dupe, but you can do pretty much everything else. On screen I sent some questions to the Unity dev that made the cheat client. You can pause here to read the response. Why did you Photoshop your company logo onto a game dev office stock image? This has honestly been one of the funniest topics for us. When we added the image to our website, we never claimed this is our office or this represents us. There was no such statement in our descriptions either. The image was simply a placeholder that our web designer temporarily added during the website's development. Frankly, we never expected it to draw this much attention because for us, it wasn't an issue at all. Fair enough response, but I think it's low IQ to not acknowledge why the MMO community would consider this a red flag. From our point of view, when the Quinfall was announced, we could see this incredibly ambitious MMO talking about having all these crazy features. The first thing you're logically going to do is look up the team behind it to see if they're legit, because a massive MMO takes a large team with a lot of funding, and over the years we've had a lot of scams and vaporware in this genre. How many developers are working on the Quinfall currently? I'm not talking about testers, moderators, or freelancers. How many devs with coding experience are part of Voreg technology? The Quinfall project initially started with just one senior developer. Our team has since expanded and we now have a total of 42 members, including freelancers, testers, and moderators. Our core team consists of 10 people. However, in terms of the game's software structure, the 2016 square kilometer Quinfall universe is built on 8 million lines of optimized code written by one single developer, Frenzy. I feel like this response was a copy-paste, considering I specifically asked, how many devs with coding experience are there? It seems like the answer is 1, and it's kinda odd that moderators and testers are considered part of the team. If the core team consists of 10 people but only one of them can code, what are the other 9 people doing? Additionally, I think it's undeniable that over the course of the game's development, Voreg have tried to mislead people into thinking the game's being worked on by an established studio. On Deal Room, they're listed as having between 2 and 10 employees in 2021. I found this screenshot from the studio's LinkedIn from my first video covering Quinfall when it was announced in 2023. Here they list between 51 and 200 employees, conveniently the size you'd expect for a team trying to make an ambitious MMO. If you look now, it says between 11 and 50 employees, with only 6 having their profiles linked. In previous interviews, they've said our employees have experience in well-known gaming companies, without elaborating further. In this interview back in March 2023, they said, the average age of our current development team is high, so you could say that they have experience with many different games from past to present. Going on to say they have 56 people on their team, and of course they plan to expand that. And on Cloudara.ai, the company is listed as having a revenue between $11 million and $100 million, with 78 employees. So over the past 3 years, the developers' claims about team size and experience has really been all over the place. This, in combination with them photoshopping their company logo on a game studio stock image, is another reason why people have been skeptical about the team, and rightly so. Currently in-game there's no way to report other players. It doesn't work, and I've received multiple messages from people who have gotten banned from the Quinfall Discord for trying to report things such as bugs and exploiters to the developers. Why? Quinfall has a large community and no one is banned for simply providing feedback or reporting a bug. This is completely false and seems to be part of a smear campaign. If you spend some time in our community and check our Discord server, you'll see that players frequently communicate directly with the developers, share their suggestions, and express both positive and negative feedback freely. In fact, we often acknowledge player concerns and discuss ways to improve the game based on their input. However, as per our community guidelines, individuals who disrupt the environment, engage in trolling, or repeatedly display toxic behaviour receive warnings from our moderation team. If such behaviour continues, temporary or permanent bans are enforced. These measures are never applied unfairly. So I asked this question because I had multiple people reach out to me with screenshots of them getting banned from the Discord for trying to report bugs or report players. Quinfall is the only MMO I've ever played where there's no option to report bugs or players in-game. If you try to do this, you click a button and nothing happens, so players take to the Discord to do it. Oddly, they didn't even respond to this point in their response, and the Discord does indeed appear to be a bit of an echo chamber with trigger-happy mods, so make of that what you will. Currently, the game has some store-bought Unity assets on the cash shop. I think people can understand when developers use store-bought assets in-game for development, but this is the first MMO I've ever seen where they're on the cash shop. Can you see why people have a problem with this, and do you plan to change it? Quinfall began as a startup project initially developed with limited resources and a small team. Even we were surprised by the overwhelming interest in our first trailer. Our goal was always to shape the game based on community support and feedback. From the beginning, we were transparent. To accelerate Quinfall's development, we are using pre-made 3D assets. We are not asking for Kickstarter-style donations or any extra financial support. Instead, we chose to use assets to speed up development. That said, replacing these assets in the future will be a relatively simple process. The entire Quinfall map consists of placeholders, and once we reach a sufficient level, rebuilding assets the world from scratch would take roughly a month. So you can consider this a temporary situation. So in my question, I didn't even mention the use of assets for development purposes as being an issue. I think most people are fine with that. The issue is that store-bought assets are being sold on the cash shop. which they didn't respond to. Additionally, I don't think you could rebuild an entire MMO world's assets from scratch in a month. That sounds like a ridiculous comment to make after following multiple other MMOs in development for years, but hey, I'm not a game dev. If you are a game dev and this is possible, let me know in the comments. Maybe it's possible with AI, who knows. One of my biggest critiques with the Quinfall was the game's combat. It seems that the combat is fairly close to what's provided out of the box by Atavism 10. Do you plan on improving the combat drastically from what it is now? Is this something you could realistically do? First, let us clarify that we have no connection to Atavism. As we continue development and release game updates, players will see that a pre-made system like Atavism would not be sufficient for an MMORPG of this scale. If you examine Quinfall's technical infrastructure, you will find no trace of Atavism in our resources. We acknowledge that the current combat system needs improvement, and we are actively working on it. We will be providing a detailed roadmap outlining our plans for combat mechanics, animations, and other key features. So the reason I asked this question is that I saw a few comments from people saying that the Quinfall is built using Atavism, which is essentially MMO Maker for Unity, and it makes sense because Atavism basically includes all of the Quinfall's features. In my mind, using Atavism is the only way that one developer could code such a large game in such a short period of time. If you compare the Atavism footage to Quinfall, they do look very similar, but I can't find any concrete evidence to prove that they used it, so maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Either way, even if they did use Atavism to make the game, it wouldn't even bother me. So long as the game's fun to play, that's all that really matters. Really, I'm just trying to make sense of how one guy has coded this entire game and all of its systems. For the testing of the Quinfall, some users were asked for their phone number and address. I've tested a few MMOs and never been asked for this. Why did you ask for this information? And can you understand why people saw this as a red flag, considering user details were stored in a database's plain text in your previous MMO? To clarify, we never requested address information from players. During the testing phase, phone numbers were required solely to prevent fake accounts. This was purely a verification measure. However, based on player feedback, we've since replaced this system with Steam key authentication. We continuously adjust our processes to align with player expectations. Regarding data security, we take serious precautions. All information on our website is protected using encryption protocols and is securely stored to prevent unauthorized access. Any comment on the screenshots of text being copy-pasted from the BDO wiki? With modern browsers, anyone can use the Inspect Element tool to alter content of a web page to make it appear however they want. When Quinfall was announced, it naturally posed a threat to some groups in the industry. Unfortunately, smear campaigns and fake accusations are common in the gaming world. So the reason I asked this is that multiple people told me they saw the BDO links, including other content creators who don't have any reason to lie, but there isn't any solid evidence other than accusations, so I guess we have to discount it. The response of calling it part of a smear campaign from other groups in the industry who saw the Quinfall as a threat sounds a bit delusional though, and certainly isn't common practice in the gaming world. Finally, are there any claims circulating about the Quinfall from the MMORPG community that you consider to be false and would like to speak on? The most frustrating claim for us is that the game is a scam. Anyone can try the game on Steam for up to 2 hours and request a refund if they're not satisfied. Despite this, people still spread claims that the game is fake, which is truly disappointing. We are continuously improving the game based on player feedback and have major updates planned for combat, animations, and life skills. You can review our roadmap below, which we are sharing as part of this interview. Then they link the roadmap for 2025, which you can pause and have a look at. Overall, despite this MMO and a lot of these responses sending my bullshit detector off the charts to places it's never been before, I am impressed that the game was basically made by one developer. Even if the game was entirely made up of store-bought assets, AI-generated art, even if they used Atavism and every shortcut imaginable, I do still find it impressive that they achieved this in such a short space of time. I can respect the hustle and grind. Personally, I would never invest more time into playing the Quinfall purely because it's client authoritative and very easy to hack, even with easy anti-cheat. The devs have made many contradictory statements, so I wouldn't trust them, and the devs have said that there won't be any wipes despite cheaters running rampant, meaning the game's economy and integrity is forever cooked. That being said, the game costs $20, and a lot of people do feel like they've got $20 worth of fun out of it, so I wouldn't say it's a straight up scam either. For me to even consider trying this game again in the future, the devs would need to make the game server-side authoritative, get on top of the cheating situation, then do a server wipe. If they do all those things, maybe we'll see a Quinfall in 2026 video from me in the future. But that's it for this video. I don't usually make these kind of drama investigation vids, so I probably didn't do the best job with it. I'd actually encourage other content creators to also go down the rabbit hole and verify if what the developers have said in this interview is true or not. Let me know your thoughts on the Quinfall situation in the comments below. Quick reminder to pre-order Mandragora today and prepare for battle using my link in the description. Give us a follow on Twitch TV to catch the live streams. Social media on screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.